Dear mental health practitioners and dear listeners, I have been suffering for so long. My doctor always told me that I am suffering from PTSD. My doctor did his best, but my suffering is beyond what he tried to explain to me. I felt that he may be struggling to relate to my experience. Regrettably, it seems that treatment and assessment modalities often overlook the unique circumstances and diverse cultural values present in Africa and other regions of the global South. In many occasions, I have no one to share with about my suffering, as I am taught by my culture to stay quiet and stay strong. I know there are many people who suffer like me, seeking solace in the arms of traditional and spiritual healers. But while they offer a sense of comfort and familiarity, here remains uncertainty about their ability to address the multi-faced challenges posed by trauma. In the face of these challenges, I appeal to mental health practitioners to extend their compassionate ears and hearts to listen to my voice and the voice of others like me. Please offer guidance and support as we navigate the complex labyrinth of our pain. In the heart of Africa and across the vast lands of the global South, survivors of trauma bear not just their own scars, but the weight of collective and cumulative trauma. Each story, each tear, is not there alone, but a frame sung by their entire community. Here are some of their experiences.
Mu buzima bwanjye cyankomekeje kirengeje ni ukuba narisanze ndi imfubyi ariko itazi inkomoko yayo. Mara igihe kingana n'imyaka 28. Icyo rero cyaranyishe.
Kugira ubusembwa no kuba twarakoze jenoside byose nk'abantu bagize bamumva umutima ntabwo baguwe neza mu mata yampawe mfite ubusembwa.
В первую очередь я пережила трагедию. У меня российские войска убили сына. Просто расстреляли мирного ребенка.
Even those who have moved to new countries still bear the consequences of sexual abuse, trafficking, imprisonment, as testified by therapists in the host countries.
I'm a clinician. I work with patients, and yes, my main topic is trauma. Well, I have like a mixed population. I have, for one part, survivors of human trafficking. So these are men and women who have been trafficked through the whole world. I've even had some people who were prisoners, but well, that's it.
The trauma they have endured leaves profound wounds, manifesting in symptoms detailed in manuals like the DSM-5 and ICD-11. Yet, the survivors often exhibit other unfamiliar symptoms that carry out for compassionate and specialized therapeutic care.
Naciye mu bintu bikomeye. Narigombaga sinari nseke. Njyewe imyaka y'ubuzima bwanjye imyinshi nayimaze naseka. Abantu bari bazi ko ntajya nishimye. Narigonga. Kino kimenyetso nagiraga gikomeye ntabwo mbiho najyaga nizera. Nta muntu nizera. Uretse ko nicyo kimenyetso n'ubundi gifite.
Numva n'ubu nifitiye igisubizo ntabisubiza cyo kumva ntari abana ntarageza.
nanjye rero bari ku ruhande rwakoze jenoside kubona ngenda mbwikinga cyangwa kumva sinshaka kubona nawe ubwo nawe nk'umuntu w'umunyarwanda muzima afite ukuboko nako mfite igihe
narwaye umutwe cyane narwaye umutwe kandi narwaye no kuguma kuko narwaye umutwe wa mwene hano inyuma
nta muntu wangiriraga neza ngo babibayo kuko numvaga ibizi itakibaho.
Сердце, конечно, разбитое, но мне кажется, солнце, но черного цвета. На то время я боли не ощущала никакой. У меня дрожали руки от каждого звука, даже если чашку поставишь на стол, мне начинало так телепать.
Или сон, нарушение сна.
Не спала я вообще, нет.
I used to have headaches, stomach aches, a lot of anxieties, and anemia. So my dignity was neglected because I never had someone.
Navigating their treatment proves challenging as cultural influences shape the way they perceive and express their suffering. Consequently, unfamiliar therapists may find themselves puzzled by their experiences if they rely solely on established criteria for post-traumatic sequelae.
umva nari muto sinari no gusobanukirwa niba ndi gukomereka ariko naho mbimenye nasanze ari bikomere umuntu akibura agatakaza identité ye burundu.
Как описать это словами? Боль, пустоту.
Felt like you've been kidnapped, dropped in a place, vast land, ocean. Now you have to sail, to swim until you find the land.
People perceive trauma differently. We might be facing a similar type of trauma, let's say sexual assault, but it depends how we are perceiving it. An example is that I have heard like 3 people who have been sexually assaulted, but these 3 people perceive the assault 3 different ways. First of all, it was a child. A child perceived this traumatic experience like it was some strange things that happened. She didn't know what happened. She didn't know how to put words to it. So it was some strange things to it.
It's unspeakable.
Yes, it was unspeakable. And the second person that I had an encounter with, there was a lady. This lady that she had undergone sexual assault also. But for the lady, it was quite different. For her, it was like a wound to the heart. She could speak of it, but it was so painful to her. And the third person, it was a gentleman. The gentleman perspective of the trauma was quite totally different. It was like a burden and it was unspeakable. Because for him, he had to carry this burden towards his whole life without speaking about it. And even if he puts words to it, he doesn't know how to convey it. He doesn't know how to express himself.
I talk about the feelings, and then I had, for example, this girl, she was sexually abused when in the age of 4 or 5, and then we had the feeling of disgust, see? And I invited them to have a picture of what is disgusting for you, so she had a snake, and this was disgusting for her. And then she painted the perpetrator, and then she put the snake on him. So this was a disgusting feeling, what he did to her. She could not express exactly that it was a sexual abuse, but she could express disgust. There was a man from Bosnia, he said, I have rubbish in my head. This was like a picture, a rubbish in my head. This was interesting. Or yes, they say I have this feeling of a cramp in my heart. They say very in the body. They don't associate it maybe to trauma, but they say what they feel. Of course they do. It's more in the body language, see, or they can't breathe, or I can't sit still. It's like I have these problems of breathing. And it's more a corporal way how they express the symptoms. Of course.
Undi araza kubwira ati ikintu kiramfata kikaza kikanyubika ikintu indwara yitwa ikintu muri diagnosis wize ntabwo ikintu kibamo nyamara ikintu kirakomeye mu kinyarwanda ati ikintu kiraza kikantikura nkumva kiranyahuranyije, ikintu kikaza kikanyasa umutima nkumva rwose, ikintu kikantwara ubwenge nkumva utuntu turajagata mu mutwe, nkumva utuntu turantondagira mu mubiri, urumva azi no kugitondagura.
Therapists revealed that their patients' symptoms are deeply shaped by culture, gender, types of traumatic events, and generational perspectives. Culture norms like enforced silence, the influence of Christianity, the importance of community reputation in Africa, the concept of dua-dua, and machismo in Latin America often intensify their suffering.
With my Latin American clients, it's the machismo, what you call it. It's that women are not so worthy in the culture. So if you're sexually abused or if you're raped, you're not worth anything. So it's like if your body's harmed, you can't tell it to anybody. And this is cultural, of course. It has to do something with Catholic belief too, that you have to go as a virgin in marriage and things like that, that they don't talk. They don't talk to their family. I need a lot of trust that they come forward with such a topic. And this is damaging, I have to say, really, because the self-esteem of these women is so lowered. It's extreme. Weakness, you have to be tough. In Latin America, you say duro duro. You have to be hard.
Buriya ugeze nk'abantu bivuza bafite uburwayi niba bakinda shaka kuvuga bivuza muri ubu buryo bw'imitekerereze, abantu nyine bagira ibibazo bakicecekera kavuga ati reka da batazanyisekera kubera iki, kubera umuco wacu, bavuga ati barahita bavuga ko nasaze. Hanyuma rero hakaba n'ikindi kibazo gikomeye ntidufite aho tuvugira. Noneho rero hakazaho n'ibyo bintu by'abanyamadini, hari amadini amwe n'amwe abuza abantu kuvuga. Tuvuge n'umuntu yaraguhemukiye, ceceka umusengere ugire gute, ariko sibyo.
The complexity of their perceptions and symptoms makes it increasingly challenging for therapists to identify effective methods. Those who attempt to utilize special approaches find themselves constrained by standard classifications, as many symptoms do not neatly fit within them.
I usually don't use a specific one because clients are different. They come from different cultural dimensions. I might stick to one, but it might be a cultural bias, because I know it works for people in my community, so I want to project it to other people, and it might not also work. So that's why I am usually flexible as a counselor. I get to understand my counselor, the things that your culture does that can help you in a cultural context. We can incorporate it to help you have a better mental well-being.
Of course, I know the whole exposure therapies, I know NET, and I know the cognitive factors, and I do them. I think there is first the human being and then the criteria. Sorry to say so. And sometimes this criteria of the DSM-5 or now the ICD-11 are not quite fitting for the person. See? Because if I have one criteria which is not exactly over the score, then I might not give the diagnosis. And I think this is false. Because if I speak to these people and if they feel nervous, of course there is hyperactivity given, even if they call it nerves. Or if they feel this loneliness and this dizziness, it's a symptom too, and it's part of the trauma, even if it's not listed. So, yes, I would very much think it should be broadened to other cultures. It should be widened, and you have to have an ethnological approach to those symptoms too. Because if you stuck just to these 4 clusters, it's too narrow. It must be widened up, of course, in any terms.
Is this the reason why many turn to spiritual healers and traditional practitioners? do these individuals provide culturally specific techniques that deeply resonate with the survivors, offering a sense of connection and healing that often missing in West-based approaches.
hanyuma kuraguza rero ni ugusuzuma ariko byimbitse bipfumura bikagera mu mizi bikamenya aho ibintu byaturutse hanyuma wamara kumenya ibyo ari byo rero uba ukoze diagnostic kwemeza ngo indwara ni iyi ngiyi noneho ugatangira gutanga intsinzi ni imiti nk'uko umuganga kwandikira imiti niba ari umuterekero niba ari imitsindo runaka azajya gukoresha niba ari imihamuro guhamura niba ari imihango runaka azakorerwa nk'uwo muterekero nk'uko kubandwa komatanywa n'Imana n'abazimu bawe imizi yawe nibyo ngibyo hanyuma rero niba ari imiti y'ibifatika nayo ukayimuha ariko ntibirangiriraho ikajyana n'imitongero kuko nta miti itagira imitongero rero iyo duterekera tugaterekera mu muriro umuriro ni ikimenyetso cy'urumuri n'ikimenyetso cy'imbaraga ngo bakurambere bacu bazimu bacu batazima mutubere urumuri nimwakire tugasomaho hanyuma icyo nicyo bita guterekera tugaterekera rero no ku umurinzi dore ni kiriya giti nicyo kirinda abacu n'ibyacu umurinzi.
Their voices of trauma echo a clear desire for a different approach to treatment. What they seek is a space to speak, to be heard without judgment, and to have their experiences validated. In their eyes, true healing begins with the simple yet profound act of being listened to and understood.
nababwira ngo bafate umwanya wabo bumve umuntu uko buriya burwayi tuvuga ntabwo busaba ubuvuzi wenda bushobora kuririra ko bitewe n'uburwayi bwawe bumaze kwidevelopa nyuma y'icyo ariko gukira kwabwo ni ukuganira kumva umuntu.
Nevertheless, therapists persist in acknowledging their lack of culturally sensitive interventions to aid their clients efficiently, advocating earnestly for their development.
icya mbere ndakibera kubavura uvura ninde ese we ntakomeretse bya bikomere ari kuvura ntabifite hari igihe umuntu avura nawe arwaye icyo gihe biragoye ko uzana impinduka kubo uri kuvura icyo ni kimwe ikindi gikomeye muri siyanse ntabwo harimo ibi bintu by'amateka n'ibi bintu bishingiye ku muco ugiye muri DSM-5 ntabwo uhita ubibona
kubera yuko ibintu byinshi tukibivoma mu by'abandi tuzitiwe niba ariko navuga n'ako kantu
yego
bango groupe ntirenza abantu 15 ubwo nuko
yego
kumva n'ibyo uvuga uti nuko biteye kandi abantu bashobora no kwicara 40 bakaganira numva ari ikintu tukwiye kwigaho nk'abashakashatsi nk'abantu babyize tukavuga ngo ubundi buryo bwabera ku buryo inurare irushaho kugabanuka tugerageza mu muco tukareba mu muco wacu icyo tuvanamo tukareba n'ibyo twiza handi ibyo twavanyemo ariko tugakora ikintu
On the context of counseling alone, we cannot fully help our clients. So by incorporation of other aspects of culture, religion, or Christianity might help. So the holistic approach, because we are human beings, we are made up of a lot of dimensions, and all these dimensions count to who we are. When you come for counseling, mostly we deal with your cognitive values.
Yes.
Sometimes when we deal with your cognitive values and we don't address your values that you have from your culture, there might be a clash. And this is what we don't want. So by incorporating the cognitive, the cultural aspects, the aspects from religion, so as to help our client in a holistic dimension.
We implore all listeners, mental health practitioners, researchers, and policymakers to hear the voice of trauma survivors in Africa and Global South. Their stories stand as testaments to resilience in the face of unimaginable pain, yet they continue to suffer, whether from recognized disorders like PTSD or complex PTSD, or from additional yet unrecognized symptoms, then cry out for treatment and healing. It is our duty to listen, learn, and act with compassion and urgency.
ikiruta dusasa inzobe dusesengure umuzi w'inzigo ibyo kurenzaho tukinumira mbese ubundi bimaze iki imitima ibohorane twongere twizihirane ibiduhuza bijye mbere ibidutanya by'imwintebe twapfaga iki byamaze iki kutajya imbere byasize iki ntacyo dupfa ibyese n'ubusa byamaze iki ntacyo dupfa ibyese n'ubusa byamaze iki.
This is so beautiful.